Hey guys, Mr. Happy here, and I just wanted to do a video about my thoughts about Phase 3 beta for Final Fantasy XIV: A Realm Reborn, and talk to you guys a little bit about what we can expect from Phase 4. Now, if you want, I'm going to add a section where I start talking about Phase 4 in the description below, so you can just skip there. If you want to stick around and listen to what I think about Phase 3, well, here we go. Now, I'm not a 100% like, oh, everything was amazing kind of guy. I think there were ups and downs to beta Phase 3, a lot of it being that, I'm a player who plays a lot, so it was kind of underwhelming to not have as much to do as I would have liked. But it's a beta, it's Phase 3 beta. I didn't expect there to be like weeks and weeks and months of content to be in there. I expected I would probably hop on for a few weekends, it would slow down, and I would just log on occasionally to chat with people and whatever, and that's what happened. And overall, though, I did create a lot of feedback for myself, like things that I thought could use improvement and things that I thought were working well and that I enjoyed. So I'm going to go over the things that I enjoyed about Phase 3, and I'm going to go over the things I didn't enjoy about Phase 3. So, first and foremost, things I did enjoy about Phase 3. I really enjoyed the progression system. Now, I'm not just talking about the main story quest because that stopped at 20, but I really enjoyed that other than the gap between 17 and 20, there's almost always a dungeon to do. You have guild hests, you have fates. I just liked how I was always doing content no matter where I went. It gets kind of boring, and I think anyone who plays Final Fantasy XI or played Final Fantasy XI or the original 14 can testify that hours upon hours of just killing monsters is really wearing on the mind. Now, granted, you're still going to have to do this to farm crafting materials, but people go into that knowing that's how it's going to be. Leveling, they kind of want to be a more involved process. And I really felt like the leveling system was that kind of involved process. I mean, especially when you're leveling doing a story, I think that's one of the things that Star Wars did correctly and Guild Wars is that you're engaged in a story while you're leveling. It's not just, okay, you're going from this zone and now this NPC wants you to go there for no absolute reason. Like, oh, go check on my friend over there. I don't like that kind of system where it's just like you're just doing quests to become known, I guess. You don't feel important really until later on, is what I'm trying to say. And 14 makes you feel important right from the get-go. It's immediately makes you feel like an individual who has extreme potential right from the first cutscene. And I really like that. So I can't wait until they've actually finished most of these cutscenes and added voice acting and whatnot. That being said, I still think there's adjustments that can be made. We'll get into that a little bit later. Other things I liked all of the jobs. Now, I say I liked all the jobs, it doesn't mean I thought they were all perfectly done with the way that they're currently balanced. But all the jobs that were currently available for testing were, they felt individual, they felt like they had a purpose, and none of them really felt the same. I mean, that goes with feeling unique, but even though Dragoon and Monk are essentially two damage-dealing classes, you get this sort of sense that they each have a place in a large party, in a party of 8 or in a raid of 24. You understand that they have a purpose and that one doesn't clearly outmatch the other. Now, there are some things that you could say, like maybe you'd want a Dragoon because they don't have to move around as much, so it's easier for positional to get them in a positional advantage. And one might say that Monk gets so many buffs and they attack so quick that they're really good at whittling down big bosses because they do a lot of damage over time. But in the end, they both have their place in the same party. They both have the debuffs that are useful, and they both have abilities that make them unique. And I really liked that. Other thing I really liked is the maps. They have just changed so significantly from 1.0. Everything has an identity now. I'd still say that Ul'dah might be the least thrilling zone, but that being said, well, in the area, Thanalan really being the least interesting region, but it's changed so much from 1.0 and everything does have identity now, which I enjoy. It's really funny because one of the maps in the Thanalan has a section of it that's completely devoted to the original maps in 1.0. It's basically two parts that are complete replicas of each other, and it's the only part in the entire game I've seen this so far where it's complete replicas. And I guess it's just a fun little tidbit that people will notice if you played 1.0, that why do these two things look exactly alike and they're right next to each other? It's a little cave that they're both shaped in sort of a like square, diamondish kind of way. It's pretty funny, but I really like what they did with all the maps. Everything has identity, and that's something I really, really needed. What else did I like? I liked the market board. Market board was a big improvement for me over 1.0. Retainers are very easy to use still. Of course, that's a positive. The inn, of course, always positive. Rested experience, a positive. There's a lot of positives, and I don't want them to completely outshine, the negatives, because if this was a perfect MMO, everybody would be shouting "Wow, killer!" Everybody would be just praising it like endlessly, and there would just be like that can't ever exist. That can exist amongst a group of people who appreciate the game. That can never exist amongst the entire like community. That would just be unfathomable if that was possible. So there are negatives I could point out. For example, the animation sliding. Personally, doesn't bother me, but I can see how it would bother other people. So that's one thing that I'm sure that they're working on, but at the same time, it doesn't really affect me, so I'm not going to pay too much attention to it. What else? I feel like some jobs could have more utility or more damage for what they are. For example, Black Mage, their damage not as great as people might have thought it was going to be. And for considering they're one of the two major caster damage dealers, it's a little bit underwhelming that they're not as strong as people were hoping. Don't get me wrong, they have great utility. They have a sleep, they have a defensive cooldown, they have a teleport to a nearby ally, they have a great AoE crowd control, they have good AoE damage, but that is all mixed in with poor boss damage. Not poor boss damage, but it's over time not as potentially good as melee. Now, that of course could change from fight to fight. If there's a fight where the Black Mage can stand perfectly still and do nothing differently, but meanwhile the melee have to constantly keep moving out of attack range or something like that, then of course the Black Mage shines over them. But in a standard sort of everybody has to get out of the way kind of deal, it's gonna be they just don't stand toe to toe in that sense. So I feel like they could have a little bit more power. I always get a text whenever I try to record. I got to turn that phone off, but it's a video log, so I don't mind. I feel like they could just use a little bit more power behind their spells. I feel like the thunder spells especially need more of a place. There's 3 of them, and they all obviously have their own damage over time effect, but I don't feel like all 3 of them are necessary, although I feel like they were aiming for that. It's very awkward to explain, and hopefully, and with balance changes coming before Phase 4, we will see some sort of improvements here. What else didn't I like? Well, I guess a lot of this next one comes from the fact that they didn't add any quests in the higher level areas yet. I'm kind of wondering where some areas kind of fit into the story. I'm wondering how much of the world they're actually going to force us to see with the main story, and how often we'll go back to visit these places after we've already completed the missions. That is something that is really important to me, is how often will we go back and visit areas that aren't in our immediate level of interest. Because it's all right to have identity in a map. It's another thing to like to use that identity, and with so much teleporting and moving around, I can see where that might be kind of an issue, and I do personally kind of have an issue with it myself. That's another thing. I feel that there might be too much in the terms of getting around. Now, don't get me wrong, I love teleports, I love mounts, I love sprint, I love the chocobo porters I'm impartial about because I never use them, because I'd rather just spend money on a teleport. And I have my own chocobo. Don't know why I would do that, unless I wanted to go make a sandwich or something. What else is there for getting around? The Aethernet is something I can completely appreciate. Something I forget to use a lot, but I appreciate it. It just makes me, and this is something that a lot of people who've played MMOs like Final Fantasy XI, this is really just me being an old Final Fantasy XI junkie, saying, I liked passing places often and seeing like, oh man, this place. I remember something that happened in this place. It's nice being able to associate memories with places as you pass through them, and going through them often, and this feeling of danger was all very good. And it's still honestly here. I pass through some places now that even as level 50, unless you use Sprinter, you're on a chocobo, you can get hurt pretty bad. And there are some enemies at level 50 that do hurt pretty bad too. It was nice, and I did get that feeling of danger, but I don't know. It's not as interesting to just teleport everywhere. Like I feel like I'd never have to actually move my character unless I need to like directly run up to an NPC. And not a huge issue for me though. Like I said, I love all the getting around because compared to 11 and 14, it's a luxury. Trust me, 14 1.0 that is. I just hope that they give us reasons to physically visit places more often. That's all I really hope. I'll say that. I just want them to give us more of a reason to physically visit places. That's really all I'm asking for. And I'm sure that despite the duty finder, despite all the teleporting, that there will be some times where you're going to have to go places to get stuff done. especially fates like Behemoth and whatnot. Sure, you'll be teleporting around, but you're going to have to run over to Behemoth from the closest Aetheryte. Same with Odin. You're going to have to wait for somebody to spot him. You're going to have to, there's going to be plenty of moving around, so I'm not too concerned. And the last thing I'd say that was kind of a negative for me would be guild leaves. Guild leaves, definitely. I feel like guild leaves are very underwhelming compared to the rest of what's available in the realm of leveling. Don't get me wrong, it's cool that they give you gear. It's cool that they give you food. It's cool that they give you experience in guild. However, I feel more compelled to spam fates or to do a dungeon or to do guild hests than I do to sit there and do guild leaves repeatedly. I don't know what it is. It's probably just me personally, but that's just how I feel. That guild leaves could be more influential towards leveling. And since you're supposed to be leveling with a content, make them somewhat attractive to parties. Sure, there's leave linking, but leave linking really doesn't have enough of a feel ever since it got abused in 1.0. It's never had this really great group feel anymore. So I guess that's really where my last complaint stands. Other than that, a lot of nitpicking stuff that's not really a big deal to me, and stuff I already. Another one. People just need to get in contact. You hear that? Phone's blowing up. They think it's a video log. Other than that, a lot of stuff that I either already know they're fixing, or or stuff that doesn't really bother me enough to talk about. I'm sure there are stuff people talk about all the time. Like I know people have complaining that they haven't seen an ST NPC macro. That's one thing. I know some people have complaining about the sliding animations as well. I know some people have complaining about sprint because they feel like they're the same as me. There might be too much in the terms of getting around the world. But overall, I'd say that the problems that I have with the game aren't problems with the major outline of the game. There are individual people who have their own problems, and I respect those people for having those problems. You know, not everybody is supposed to love everything about a game. Even the people who do love a game, it's kind of unhealthy to love absolutely everything, because then you can't think of any ways to help make it better, and you can't give feedback, and that just kind of takes away a lot from the community, I feel like. What else? Okay, so that was Phase 3. Those are my overall thoughts about Phase 3. I could go into every single dungeon. I could go into every little detail, but you guys don't really want to see all that, do you? That's going to take too long. So probably what attracted more people to the video is these Phase 4 details that I'm going to talk about. Now, Phase 4 is the big one. Everyone said Phase 3 was the big one. I think Phase 4 is the big one because it's the last week we have to test everything before the game comes out. So this is crunch time, guys. Phase 3 was already crunch time. This is even more. This is way more crunch time right here. And you notice that right there I said my first detail. So let's break these down very systematically. Phase 4 will only last 1 week. That is right, everyone. So if you enjoyed the 5 days of Phase 3, I hope you're going to enjoy the 1 week of Phase 4. And it makes sense because the game comes out August 27th, plus people have the early access. Plus, it's going to take a week for this. Plus, they need time to implement changes from Phase 3 to Phase 4, which they are taking. And they have said there will be some significant changes. So I'm kind of glad that it's only a week. And it kind of also gives people not too much time to get too much done. There's only so much you can get done in a week. And I think that a week is just enough time considering what will be available. And that comes in what is available. And interestingly enough, for about 6 months now, they have said Arcanist will be available on release. They have said it time and time again. Despite constant interview questions saying, might we get Arcanist in the beta? They have said, ready for release. They surprised us yesterday, and in a Japanese blog that I'll put the link to in the description, they went ahead and said, Arcanist will be in Phase 4. And it's a good move, because honestly, a class we haven't played yet, we have no experience with at all, kind of worrisome that it just jumps right into the main release of the game, isn't it? That would be kind of dangerous, to be honest, because it could be completely unbalanced and it could fail. I'm sure they have internal testing, but it needs to go to a public test realm, and this is the perfect way to do it. That being said, there will also be jobs available in Phase 4, which is something they've also not stated until recently. Now that we know that for sure, though, that it's perfect because people have been asking me, can you unlock job in Beta Phase 3? Can you? The answer is in Beta Phase 4, you will be able to. And if they've changed any of the ways that you unlock them, I will definitely make sure. And I actually think they might have changed it. And that is because of a detail I will say right now. A lot of people have been complaining about leveling your second and third or fourth, etc. class. They've been saying without the guidance of the main storyline, without this direction of it, it doesn't Caught that one. It doesn't feel as fast, and it's not as directionally appropriate, they feel like. And to make up for that, apparently after you've hit level 50 on your first class or job or however you want to put it, you'll then get a bonus on the rest of your classes. So, guys, make sure you're logging off in your ins because those bonuses are going to stack and you are going to level really fast on the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th classes. So, with that in mind, hope that helped that reassure some of you guys that leveling multiple classes after your first one hits 50. Now, that also makes me feel like jobs might have their prerequisites changed to just be the class at 30. But at the same time, that doesn't make sense because it kind of makes sense you have to level that 1 second class to get some abilities in your armory system and to kind of give you something to work. Because you only get a few abilities in your armory system when you hit a job at level 30 anyway. So I think it would be a good move to keep the subclasses in there. And besides, 1 to 15 doesn't take too long. You just have to go do some fates, some hunting logs, maybe some guild leaves, a guild hest or two, and you're all set. I recommend saving your guild hests for your 2nd and 3rd characters, by the way. Hint of the week. Voice acting will be in Phase 4, which is a big thing. Kind of makes me wonder about something that I'll get into a little bit later. They've also said that HQ crafting from NQ materials will have an adjustment. Now, with this adjustment, no idea what it is. Could be anything. Might be easier. Might be harder. Who knows? Guess we'll find out soon. And that they're still working on crossfire support, so hopefully it'll be ready soon. Now, those are the details we got formally in that blog, but let's go over some of the other details that we might not know, but we can speculate based on what's available now. The roadmap is something I actually have here right in front of me as soon as I actually click it. Roadmap. Now, this roadmap has changed a lot since I first looked at it 6 months ago. Right now, it says Phase 4 is scheduled to be an open beta. We knew this. PlayStation 3 version will be available. We knew this. Characters created during this phase will be carried over to the official release. A lot of people do know that, and if you didn't, you know now. Unless, of course, there's a game-breaking bug. Like, if there's something so game-breaking it has to be deleted. Let's hope that doesn't happen. More than 20 worlds will be available. Not a big deal. Most people have already picked the world they're going to go to, and there's way more than 20. All character customization options will be available. This probably includes starting as an Arcanist, which is interesting because, well, starting as an Arcanist. That's a character creation option, and people haven't asked me about that. They said all options will be available, so Arcanist will probably be available. Yeah, honestly, that was a good call. Whoever said that. I don't remember who said that, but whoever said that, good call. And version 1.0 characters can, of course, be used. Also, if you're a 1.0 account service holder, you will be able to download the final client free of charge. What else? So, Duty Finder and Level Sync have already been implemented. There will be 3 new things that absolutely get seen in Phase 4. Housing system, stress testing on that. The PvP Coliseum, which will be 4v4s and 8v8s most likely. And free company points, which essentially allow you to level up within your free companies. So those are pretty cool. What this doesn't say is, will there be dungeons from 35 to 50? Will the raids be available and anything else? Now, I very highly doubt they're going to implement the raids and the level 50 dungeons. I have just no hope that those will be in there, just because the game's not even out yet and these characters are going to be kept. If you give people this extra week to move through the content, that just means people are going to become more impatient when they are finished with the content, if they finish the content. So that just, I don't think that's a good idea. It could still happen. I don't think it's a good idea. But it also doesn't say there will be a level cap. So anything's up for grabs. Because Phase 3, it says level cap will be 35. Phase 4 says nothing of the sort. So we can even expect the level cap to be lifted. So, guys, I hope you are ready for Phase 4 because it's going to be a doozy. Plan out your week because those of you who don't have off are going to need to utilize the time best. Say, I want this to 30, this to 15. I want to get a crafting class up, gathering classes. I want to start gathering items for when the servers go live, get the market started, start learning the prices, start learning locations, learn everything. One last detail, however, it still says the NDA is only partially lifted. This can mean one of two things. 1, we won't get video for that week. Or 2, we can get video, but we can't release video of Phases 3 and earlier. For what we know, Open Beta might not have any, other than Yogscast, Open Beta might not have any video available. So, we'll see, guys, but as soon as I can, I will be streaming and getting video to you guys, I promise, because you guys have been so awesome that you deserve it, and I want to give it to you guys. And with those details, I think I can actually say that this video log is completed. However, there are 2 things that I want to talk about really quick that aren't Final Fantasy related. One is I want to thank my over 3,000 subscribers. I thanked you already in a video earlier today, but you don't understand how much it means to me because doing video games for a living is something that, every kid dreams of. When you're 12 years old and you play video games after school and you're like, oh man, wouldn't it be so cool to do something in video games? And right now, that's what I'm working on. Now, obviously, I'm nowhere near the place of being able to call it sustainable living, but every subscriber makes a difference in my life. So I appreciate you all. In the future, as long as my channel keeps picking up momentum, keeps picking up subscribers and views, I will make sure to give back to you guys as best as I can. Not only with my content, but with giveaways, stuff that isn't just little things that like Smite gems, things that are big and important and stuff that will make you guys happy. But of course, that's still a whiles away, so just stick around and hopefully we'll get to that point at some time. I also want to thank my subscribers who have been donating to me. I'm actually just a few dollars away from getting a Blues microphone Yeti. Gonna hook that up so this stops disconnecting, as you guys can see earlier in the video. I'm probably just gonna throw a few bucks of my own in my PayPal account, or I'm gonna take the money out of my PayPal and put it into one of my emergency bank account and order it through that. And I just can't believe that after I was like, there's no way I could ever accept donations. That would be terrible of me. And after everyone said, do it, do it, do it, I decided to do it, and people have been donating. So you guys are amazing. So if you want to donate to help improve the quality of this stream by getting me a better mic, or if you want to, yeah, quality and quantity, because I'd order more stuff. I'd order, let's see, microphone, pop filter. I get a better computer to help me stream, to help me record. I could actually probably get better software for editing. I could get a lot of things, but if you don't want to donate to that, there is one other thing that I would like you guys to consider donating to. I do a charity stream weekly now, sort of. It's not set in stone, it'll be weekly, but I've been doing it the past couple weeks. And it's for Save the Children Foundation. And basically, I go on Athene Live, his stream, and I stream for him. Overnight, 14 to 20 hours. My last one was 19 and a half hours. And we try to raise money for kids in the form of subscriptions to his Twitch channel. 90% of all subscriptions go directly to Save the Children. The other 10% goes to PayPal fees. And each subscription is matched 7 times, so it's multiplied by 8. So your $5 donation is actually a $36 donation, matched by the U.S. aid as well. So it's a big, big thing that I'm working on right now. If not, even if you don't want to come by my night stream, just go there and subscribe, help the charity out. We're trying to get to this goal of 480,000 by October, and it would just be amazing if you guys could help me with that. Also, if you don't feel like making accounts, you can always donate to me and put in the message, donate to Athene Live, and I'll make the accounts for you, and I'll make sure to cancel them as well. So don't worry, because if you just want to do a one-time subscription, you just donate once and then unsubscribe, and then at the end of the month you'll lose your subscription, but you'll still have donated that $36 essentially. So those are two things that are really important to me, and I definitely wanted to share with you guys in this video log. If you found this video fun, interesting, whatever, if you just enjoyed it overall, just like, favorite, subscribe, and share. It would really help me out towards moving towards those bigger goals for this channel. Also, check out my Facebook at www.facebook.com/MrHappy1227. I'm kind of flustered a little bit from the donation talk, and go there and donate your ideas. Help me out with picking my brain, keep me active and inspired and motivated. You guys have been doing a great job with that so far, and I'm gonna keep it up. So thank you guys. You guys are amazing, and I will see you for the next Around Reborn informational video. So take care, guys.